Giving all praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai B'Shem Rakakodash Shalom to the 144,000 and rest of you out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video response to to what Chat GPT openly admit that the microchip is coming. So I was watching this video, very short, not even 18 minutes long. So the young prophet out of Dallas, he did a video 17 hours ago, and what he did was, I was thinking about giving it another title instead of call it Young Prophet Tricks Chat GPT, to say that the MOTB is the microchip. So that's another title right there. And I notice it only has 22 views. It should have a lot more. So me putting this video up will get this video a lot more views. And I watched the whole video. Like I said, it's not even 18 minutes long. And you can trick the chat. The chat tells the truth. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's hit or miss with the chat. Most of the time it's hit. Sometimes it's miss. But the way you ask questions to the chat, you can actually trick them into telling the truth. So watch this video. I'm not even going to put it up. I put it up as a but I believe they'll take it down because they kind of got their eyeballs on me. Let me do this right here. I'm just seeing if this still works. See, this thing ain't working no more. Anyway. So like I said, watch the video. Watch the video. See it right there. Soldier of Yahweh, why Yahweh Shai, not Christ. Or Chat GPT openly admit that the microchip is coming. So I'm gonna go from here to this video. This was from yesterday. This one older gentleman came up with 3 little pretty women, girls, whatever, and we were teaching. He was about maybe 500 feet away from us or so, 1,000 feet away, something like that. And he said, Jesus. And I think he said, the name is you probably hear it. And I kind of confronted him. I said, what do you mean? I said, no. I said, wait a minute. You said Jesus. You got to come and explain yourself. Then he stopped. Then I trapped his ass. So I'm just going to let this play. So this is a segment, what do you call it, a snippet from the live from yesterday. So let's see if he gets the whole thing.
Back to the 58th verse. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this book that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy power, the Lord, which his name is Yahweh, son's name is Yahweh Shai, will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and some sicknesses, and of long continuance. So basically, if you're not calling upon the name of the Heavenly Father and the Son, you're provoking the wrath of the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. And his name is Jesus.
Hold on, brother. Wait a minute, man. I gotta have some fun. Wait a minute.
these Christians don't, when you trap these Christians and corner them, they're like scared little squirrels or whatever. Because they'll say Jesus. Now, every name has a meaning. Every name has a meaning. So, so-called Jesus would have a meaning. So I asked him, he said Jesus. I said, what does it mean? He bumping the gums.
No, that's a different name. Jesus and Emmanuel, two different things.
Showing you that these Christians don't know. I said, what does Jesus mean? It means Emmanuel. No, you gave me a Hebrew. First of all, that's not his name. Nobody ever called him Emmanuel. Nobody ever called him Emmanuel. That was considered a title. So now, did the Lord go off? That's when the scripture said that he shall be called Emmanuel. He was never called Emmanuel. The scripture where it says he shall be called Emmanuel, meaning it's a title meaning God with us, or the power with us. That's what it means. Which does not. Jesus does not mean Emmanuel. You gave me another name or another title.
Jesus, first of all, Jesus doesn't exist. His name is Yahushua. No. Jesus doesn't exist. His name is Yahushua. Jesus just means earth dirt. That's all that means. All right. His true name is Yahushua. And you know.
So this guy knows nothing about etymology, root words. If I ask him, what does the word term or word etymology? What does that mean? He doesn't know. Jesus.
What it means, the angel Gabriel. Listen, hear me out. The angel Gabriel, you fill out with pride. What do you mean what I read the better? It's right in the scriptures. If you go into the Hebrew.
In the Hebrew.
When the angel Gabriel went to Joseph and Mary, he said, you will call his name what? He didn't say, no, it says Jesus, but the angel Gabriel spoke one language. He spoke Hebrew. That's a pure language. The angels speak Hebrew. So he told Joseph and Mary, which are Israelites, he said, you're gonna name him Yahushua, because he, Yah, shall save Yahushua, his people. Okay, so don't call him Jesus. That's not his name.
That's the name.
Jesus, that's not his name.
No.
What's your name, sir? No, what's your name, sir? What's your name? Okay, if I call you, wait a minute, no. If I call you, wait a minute, if I call you Dawiyad, are you gonna answer that? If I say Dawiyad, are you gonna answer that? That's the Hebrew way of saying David. There's no V in the Hebrew.
But if I call out to the name of Jesus.
No, you're not.
No, don't do that.
First of all, you're black too. Are you aware of that? Take the whole motherfucker.
Wait a second.
Look at half. You gotta be out your fucking mind. You gotta be out your fucking.
And I said the Jesus or Yahushua is black. You just heard it, and it was faint, but he said half. This is the first time I ever heard somebody say half, because it's ridiculous and utter stupidity for you. So somebody says, what color is Jesus? What do he look like? For you to say, oh, he's a white man. That shit is played out. So now people are saying, oh, he's olive colored. Well, olives are green, brown, and black. So we know he wasn't green. Let's eliminate that. So you got brown and black, right? So how you get a picture of Caesar Borgia? That's and here it is 2025, and you still got people that go to church, and what's on their wall in the church is a big picture of the white Jesus, which is nothing but Caesar Borgia, which he was a cutthroat. He was a cutthroat, man. We used to go to the history. I believe he set up his father or his brother to get killed. He had sex with his sister Lucretia. He was a freak. The Borgia, he from the Borgia family, which they were known as the first crime family. Let's see if that's the case. So I'm in my second lesson now. Let me just find a tab. Got all these tabs open. Barack Obama said, oh, you got too many tabs open. And I said, yeah, you right, brother, you right. Okay. If I take down all these tabs in about 15 minutes, I'll have the same amount, almost the same amount of tabs up. Okay. What did I say I was gonna go? Let me go to Google. Bear with me for a minute. Just had my lemon water with my cayenne pepper. Yeah, the bishops came by. They came by to the crib, along with the Apostle Gabar and the bishops. And all we talked about was we were listening. Well, we had Jeff Burrick playing in the background. What was the name of his damn show? You know what? I'll go to it later. Okay. Give me a second here. The First Crime Family. Okay. Let me do it this way. The Bogiers, the First Crime Family. Oh, it was right there. I just... Give me a second. Let me pull it back. The Bogiers. Here it is. The Bogiers, the original crime family. And I believe that was that the... let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do it this way. Come on, man. First crime family wasn't the mafia in America. This is what I want to put in. Copy. Then the Bogier family, prominent in Italy, actually out of Spain. It came out of the Pope, he was a Pope out of Spain. I don't know why they got Italy. Give me a second here. Yeah, this history's all screwed up. Rodrigo is not Italian. So I believe they're going off on this. The Borgia family, prominently in Italy during the 14th and 15th century, gained notoriety, excuse me, I thought it was an M, for their alleged use of crime, including murder, incest, because Caesar Borgia, the guy that posed for the picture of the Jesus that you see, but they updated in around World War II, which is a different likeness of Caesar Borgia. He was having sex with his sister. He killed his brother. I think he conspired to kill his own father, Rodrigo, which was the Pope, and bribery to achieve and maintain political power. Just like you got this guy Trump. The walls are closing in on Trump. He's corrupt laden. He's laden with corruption, but he's still sitting there as the president. They're often described as a as a crime family due to the widespread accusations and rumors surrounding. Well, that's what Trump is going through: accusations and rumors. And he said, "No, we got to arrest Obama." He's passing the buck. He's a thing called projecting their actions, particularly during the papacy of Rodrigo Borgia, Pope Alexander VI, which was that's his actual name. He became the Pope, and they were corrupt. They were rich, corrupt family. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me do this. Let me go. Because the guy said Jesus, he don't know that when he says Jesus, he's thinking about what's in his mind is a picture of Caesar Borgia. And these are some wicked, corrupt people, just like your current leader today. Look, Rodrigo Borgia, which is the Pope, he had mistresses. That's Caesar Borgia, Cesare Borgia. And who was it? It was Leonardo, and Leonardo did a portrait. I believe he did this Last Supper. I think it was Michael, the one that we're famous with before is Michelangelo, I believe. The portrait, the real history of the Borgia family and their curse, a black legend, National Geographic. In the searing heat of Rome, August 1492, a large and lavish ceremony took place to crown a new pope who had bribed his way into. These were complete. This guy, the current president, he snuck his way in there, man. There's a completely corrupt. Totally corrupt. All of them are corrupt anyway, but it's the most corrupt, man. So when this guy, okay, let me do this. Rodrigo Borgia, okay, Caesar Borgia, Cesare Borgia, as they say. He got killed trying to breach a wall, and the men that killed him, they didn't even know he was Caesar. He was just a regular soldier, and he left him there to die. Give me a second, y'all. This is the guy that put the portrait of the old Jesus Christ. There's a book called The Prince by Machiavelli, and it features Caesar Borgia, Cesare Borgia. Yeah, he died in Vienna, Spain. Pope Alexander VI, spouse. Lucrezia, that was his sister. Giovanni, that was his brother that he killed. So these people were corrupt, laden. Okay, Caesar Borgia, Jesus. There we go. The claim that modern depictions. This was drawn in it was based upon the old picture of Caesar, but this was drawn. This came about World War II when the U.S. troops were fighting. They had pictures of, the Jesus with you, which was a white man. The claim that modern depictions of Jesus Christ are based on Caesar Borgia is a popular, though unsubstantiated. No, you can see that they look the same. While there's a resemblance between some portraits of Caesar Borgia and later depictions of Jesus, which he's not a white man. That's why the dude said, "Oh, he's half black. He's half black," because they can't say he's white no more. Particularly in the Western tradition, America, Europe, historical evidence does support the idea that Caesar Borgia was the direct model. It says Western tradition, historical evidence does support the idea that Borgia, or Cesare Borgia, was the direct model for Jesus' image. The theory often stemmed from the fact that both Cesare Borgia, or Caesar Borgia, and Jesus are depicted with certain common features like brown hair and a certain facial structure. So the truth is coming out that you might say, well, I don't know what color he was. And color doesn't matter. Okay, so would you say he's white? No, couldn't say he's white. If anything, they say he was Palestinian. Meaning he was from Palestine, Israel, the surrounding area. Let me see, Jesus, World War. I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so the guy put his foot in his mouth. Like I said, I asked him, what color is Jesus? I said, Jesus is black. Do you know that? He said, half.
Fucking mind, bro. You calling Jesus 50 Cent? Yeah. He say no. Yeah. Boy, that's classic, man. Well, here's the thing here. He knows. But see that pride, he kept talking. Yeah. And I told him to shut up. I said, because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, brother. His name is Jesus. Ever said Jesus? Yeah. Well, you know what fucked him up when I said, what's your name? David. I said, if I say Dawi, he had to look. Yeah. Oh, you getting up too. You getting up. He ain't gonna sleep good tonight. No. And the women didn't want none of this. Yeah. Y'all didn't want none of this. Y'all don't want this smoke. That's smoke. That's right. And like I said, recently, don't play with him. Right. So bring him in the deep water and drown him, man. That's it. Like Malcolm Jamal Warner. Drown him motherfucking ass. How dare you say that? Well, let me tell you something about Malcolm Jamal Warner. He knows about the Israelites. He's from New York, bro. Yep. That's right. So he ain't never shouted out the Israelites. So guess what? Now the nigga in the spirit world. Oh, that's right. Okay, so we ain't playing. That's right. That's a topic right there. We ain't having. That's right. We ain't playing.
Computer acting up, bear with it. Okay. So that was it on that. Okay. So you know what? Let me do this. Let me go to the chat. Let me go to the chat. Okay, let me see. Let's do this. This is what I want to do. Bear with me for a minute. King James, Revelation. That's what I want, Revelation 13 and 16. Bear with me for a minute. I don't need this no more. That's Trump in bed with Satan. I don't want him.
For the ones who get it.
Come on, man. Okay, I don't want him. X him out. Bear with me, y'all. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I should cross this out. Yeah, like I said, the current president is corrupt, laden in corruption. And everybody knows it. I strongly believe Trump, the last Trump, will usher in the chip in World War on Armageddon. Okay, I showed you this. I don't need this no more. Give me a second, y'all. Let me take that out. Okay. Take this out. Okay, this is I want to re-up this. Something that vocab did. Hebrew Israelite leader said to be King David reincarnated. Yeah, of course, absolutely. The mother camps don't push that. Okay, where did I say I was gonna go? Oh yeah, the chat. Let me go to Revelation. I wanted to go to the word. I'm gonna just play with I'm gonna just see where the chat's gonna go with this. See where the chat's gonna go with this. If you don't know what the meaning of the term transliteration, because a lot of you don't, is when you take one language, you say something in one language, like in Hebrew you say Abba, you write it in Hebrew, ancient Hebrew, then you write it in English you put in AHBA, Abba. So charagma, let's deal with charagma. Just having fun with the chat. Like I said, the young prophet, he tricked the chat. He has the chat a series of questions. Let me put in meaning, just to see what they're gonna say. Meaning. Okay. The word charagma. Here it is in the actual Greek, which I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna ask chat. I'm gonna put it in the actual Greek. Copy. Is a term from ancient Greek with the following meanings. Literal meaning in engraving. You ever get a bracelet with a what do you call it? The name plate with a bracelet, and you have the guy, I want you to put my name in, your name, Joe, whatever, in script and cursive, and they use an engraving tool, stamp, or mark. Mark meaning, when you go back to the Hebrew, put no cuttings on your marks upon your flesh. The word there in the Hebrew is kwai kwai, which is the exact translation from the Greek charagma into the Hebrew kwai kwai. Something that is, so you, like IUIC, ICPK, all these others, that they don't agree that the Revelation 13 and 16 is talking about an actual microchip, that we going off, we got demons on us, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so you believe that. So when the mark does, when it's time for you to get the mark, are you going to tell your people to take it? Because if you tell your people to take it, you're going to cause them to break the law. So we'll see. Now, this mark thing should come around, be introduced to the world, I don't know, maybe the next 6 months. Something that is inscribed, branded like a horse, or carved. If you're dealing with wood and you got these wood plaques, and you got this guy that puts it, he'll use like a chisel. Not a chisel, a carving tool. If you have a loved one that dies, you have enough money to get a tombstone, you have an engraver use a chisel and chisel his name in with the year that he was born, the year that he died, beloved father, son, brother, husband, whatever. So the simplest meaning of this word charagma is to engrave. Engrave. We're going to look up this word engrave. Something that is inscribed, branded like a horse or a cow, or carved into a surface like wood. In classic Greek, it refers to the mark engraved on a coin, seal, or document. A brand or tattoo, especially used to identify slaves or animals, because that whole mark of the beast thing is for the super elite to put everybody in slavery. That's why everything's going to be digital. If you go to, pretty much, you can't buy anything illegal. You can't deal with the black market. They'll eliminate the black market. So if you go to the store and you buy, let's say you go to the BJ's, let's say, or Target, and you buy X amount of things, they know exactly what you got, how many items you got, what you got, and what time you got it, what time you went into the store, what time you left the store, what time you cashed out. So that's digital slavery. So if you go through a red light, they don't got to tell you to go to court. All they're going to do is deduct, okay, you went through a red light, we got you on camera, your chip said you went through the red light, we're going to deduct X amount of money from your account. When tax season come around, you don't got to remind people you got to do your taxes. They're going to take out your taxes. They're going to say you made this amount of money, boom. Now you might have deductions or something like that. You might go through that. But they're going to have complete and total control over you, a slave. For them to succeed in enchipping everybody, that means they're enslaving the whole planet. Who? The super elite. Whatever you want to call them, the Rothschilds, the different names, the Rockefellers, whatever. In biblical religious usage, especially in the book of Revelation, in the New Testament, charagma, which is an engraving, is used to describe the what? The mark of the beast. Chat's telling the truth. A symbolic or literal mark placed on the right hand or forehead. Revelation 13, 16, and 17. This has been interpreted variously as a symbol of allegiance, control, or economic identification. That's why it said you can't buy or sell. When you go to the hospital, you're buying the doctor. In other words, when you go in the hospital emergency room, they're going to ask for your ID. They're going to ask for your driver's license. That's all I need. What's your social security number? fill out this application. You all in pain. You still got to give out the information, because after you get well, they're gonna bring you into the office, and then they're gonna discuss how much this costs and whether you qualify. You have a job, or do you have medical insurance, or you can receive they call it Obamacare, Medicaid, Medicare, whatever. Because I went to the hospital and they didn't give me they didn't tell me how much everything I went through cost, but I believe they put me on Obamacare, but it expired, you know, because I had some more. I had it for a certain amount of time. You can use it, and then you got to reapply. And I think I needed a cleaning or tooth pull. This was back in beginning of 2016, and I said, the doctor said, "Do you have a Medicaid card?" I gave it to me. They didn't charge me nothing, right? It says from the Greek verb, I guess that's karoso, to engrave, inscribe, or carve. Let me do this. Let me do this here. I'm sorry. How do I do this? Give me a second. Is this I gotta put charagma again. So I don't gotta trick chat. Chat's already been tricked. I'm just asking direct. Is the charagma the microchip Let's see what happens. Okay, it's pretty much giving me the same thing. The idea that the charagma of the mark of the beast from Revelation is a microchip is a modern interpretation, not something directly stated in the Bible. Let's break it down clearly. Greek, we know what that says. The Greek word charagma meant engraving, stamp, imprinting, etching, often used for ownership, mark, or coins, slaves, or legal seals. The microchip theory. Some modern interpreters, especially in certain Christian, prophetic, or conspiracy circles, claim the mark could be a microchip implant, RFID, or digital ID. They associate this with forehead placement, where implants could be inserted. Economic, you window shoppers from the IUIC, you better stop looking in the window. You better come to the front door and you better come on in. Economic control, can't buy or sell without it. What was that? They had I think it was either Visa or MasterCard when they were pushing the credit cards. Carl Malden, he's an old actor before your time, and he used to be the guy. He said, I think it was a Visa. He said, get a Visa. Don't leave home without it. It was either MasterCard or Visa. And if you had a credit card back in the 60s, you were the man or the woman. You know, people would try, yeah, I got a credit card. That was like a status thing. Now everybody and their mama got a credit card. Technological advances in biometrics. Somebody look up the word biometrics. Bio meaning your body, and metrics meaning measure. Cashless system or global ID system. So Chad is telling the truth. You don't got to trick. You didn't have to trick. You didn't have to trick the chat. But the young Padawan prophet, he tricked the chat. The interpretation is speculative and explicit in the text, and heavily influenced by contemporary concerns about privacy, surveillance, and tech. They're going to know where you are. If they say you committed, no, I wasn't even there. Well, wait a minute. Your microchip says you was here at the time of the murder. You was in the woman's house. They don't even have to check for prints no more. All they got to do is they'll tag you as to being in the house when the murder occurred. If you committed a murder and you was in the room and this, that, and the third. And that goes into that movie, Minority Report. That came out, I believe, in 2005. Pretty much that's predictive programming. Somebody look up predictive programming or predictive programming in movies. And it was called, there were police that were in charge of what was called pre-crime. In other words, if you were plotting to kill your wife, they already read your mind, and they arrested you for you thinking about murdering your wife or your wife murdering you. The first scene opened like that, where the guy got arrested, and he was arrested in jail for committing murder, but he never committed the murder, but he got locked up for murder. And then the main character was Tom Cruise, the famous Tom Cruise. He got caught up in that mess. Most Bible scholars interpret charagma symbolically, not as a literal implant, because they don't know. A symbol of alliance to the what? Beast. Beast. A lot of people don't even know who the beast is. We're going to ask the chat that question. A corrupt system or ruler. They telling the truth. Get down, chat. A symbol of allegiance to the beast, and they tell you what the beast is, a corrupt system or ruler. A counterfeit of God's seal, part of the apocalyptic literary genre. A genre, if you don't know, like if you go to the movies and you see a horror movie, that's a particular genre. Then you see a sci-fi movie, that's another genre. Symbolic and visionary rather than literal prophecy, because they don't know. In summary, no, the charagma is not specifically a microchip, but they did say it, okay? But some believe it could be one as a, I'm sorry, let me do this. But some believe it could be one as a modern fulfillment of technological parallel. So if you go back 400 years, if you go back to the time of John Calvin and he read the mark, he didn't know what it was talking about. It wasn't given to him. Nobody back 2,000 years ago, John didn't even know what it was. He saw somebody getting chipped and he wrote it down. Biblically and historically, it's more like a symbol of loyalty or ownership, but not a piece of tech. It is a piece of tech. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me ask what or who is a beast in Revelation. Matter of fact, I'll do it this way. So we having fun with the chat. What is the beast? What is the beast in Revelation? Revelation 7. The hell is the Revelation? Revelation 13. Let's put Revelation 13. What is a beast in Revelation 13? You know what I'm going to do? Chapter 13. Let's see what happens. Okay, wow. Give me a lot of information here. Oh, they mentioned Nero. Nero's back. Let me read through this. There's a lot of reading. The beast in Revelation chapter 13 is a symbolic figure described in apocalyptic language, and it has been interpreted in various ways by the theologians, scholars, and religious traditions throughout history. Revelation 13 actually introduces two beasts, each with distinct characteristics and roles. Here's a breakdown. The first beast, Revelation 13, 1 to 10, rise out of the sea. A lot of these prophetic Christians among Esau, they'll say it's the Roman Empire. They'll say it's the Roman Empire. And I should double check that. You know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me go to the Bible Hub. That's all you guys talking about is a mark of the beast. Yeah, because it's coming. The big. And when John the Baptist came on the scene, they were talking about the Messiah because they knew that the Messiah was one of them. Okay. Wait till it pops up. Okay, it says, and I stood upon the sea beast from 10 horns. You know what I'm gonna do? Let me put in Rome. Type in Rome. Rome. Okay, good. Let me come down here. The interpretation of the beast. dominion, worship, chief, particularly reference to Rome, Rome. This is Benson commentary. He mentions Rome, bunch of times. Cambridge didn't mention Rome once. One manifestation alone as Rome. I'm not going to read all these, but that's Rome is mentioned. Capital R-O-M-E. Rome, as in the Roman Empire, is mentioned 61 times in Revelation 13:1. Give me a second. Let me move on to 2. The beast was a leopard. Let me do this. Okay. Let me do this here. Deadly wound was healed 25 times. And I saw one of the heads as it was wounded to death, and the deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. So Rome is 25 times. But the world power in the abstract, but understood it as a definite reference to Rome. America is known as the second Rome. 25 times it mentions Rome. Right, they go off on this. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. I'm sorry. Okay, let's go here. Wow, 67 times. Wow. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, that's for Revelation. I'm sorry. Let me do this. 8 times. Reference to papal Rome. They went off on that. Of the northern hordes and convulsions and revolutions of the falling empire of Rome. That lamb that came up with having 2 horns that spoke as a dragon is America. The speaking as a dragon, that's Trump. He's the last Trump. Pope. They keep saying Pope. They ain't talking about the Pope. The Pope. They ain't talking about Vatican City. Geneva Study Bible, the second part of the vision concerning the ecclesiastical, which is another way for saying church, dominion, rulership, which in Rome succeeded that which was politic, and is the power of the corporation of the false prophet. See, they don't understand. They do not understand. So the beast. So scholars, when you go to Revelation 13:1, 13:1 and 2, they all agree it's the Roman Empire of over 2,000 years ago. Has 10 horns and 7 heads, with blasphemous names, looks like a leopard, and blah blah blah. Receives its power from the dragon, and they say it's Satan. No, the dragon is referring to. The dragon is interchangeable, by the way. That old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. Serpent is also known as a dragon. One of its heads seems mortally wounded, but is healed. Right, that's America. Came back as America. Rome all over again. The founding forefathers, they started building in a place called Rome, Maryland. There was a place called Rome, Maryland. It's not called Rome, Maryland. It was built on. D.C. was built on the capital, D.C. was built on a lot. The lot number was 666. The founding forefathers, that's a tongue twister. The founding forefathers got together and said, let's build an infrastructure like ancient Rome. Why? Because the Spirit was on them. Because these guys were the Caesars coming back. It says, astonishes the world, giving authority over every tribe, excuse me, people, language, and nation, wages war against the saints. Common interpretation of the Roman Empire. Imperial Rome, end time political power, end time, we're living in the end time. What's the empire that rules the world? Babylon the Great. Some evangelicals and dispensational interpreters, see it as a future global government. They're right, but it's not America. It's probably Russia or China. China, the president of China is or dictator, or that's why they use the word antichrist. It's often associated with the antichrist. There's no such thing as one antichrist. Symbol of oppressive empires. Who's our current leader? He's an oppressive guy. Idealist view, the beast symbolizes an empire or regime that opposes the Most High and persecutes his people, the Israelites, throughout history. Institutional corruption. It can also be interpreted as apostate religion or corrupt political power. Yeah, the current leader of this country is corrupt. Corruption is 10 miles long. Because you got dumbed down people. You dumb down people, you can put anybody in that position. The majority of the people of this fucking place, they're dumbed down. They're stupid. That's why when I asked the guy, when the guy said Jesus, I said, what does Jesus mean? He didn't have no answer for me. Oh, Emmanuel? At the time, that's why I said, don't have no mercy on these Christians, man. Political power at the time, Revelation was written, late first century. The second beast. The second beast rise out of the earth, has two horns like a lamb, but spake like a dragon. Part of that is more stout than their fellows, gave eyes to see, and spoke greatly. I'm paraphrasing Daniel 7, exercises authority of the first beast. They're going to build it. They're going to start building in Maryland, Rome, a place called Rome, Maryland. I'm sorry. They're going to build it on lot 66. The founding fathers, when they said, how are we going to construct this capital? We're going to make it look like a replica of Rome. Performs miraculous signs, their technology, deceives the world into worshiping the first beast, which is Rome, enforces the mark of the beast. For what? For economic control. That's the chip. That's the microchip. Like I said, you got Bishop Nate saying that it ain't talking about that. We believe he sold out because the evidence is overwhelming. Also called a false prophet. Common interpretations, religious authority that supports corrupt political power, state religion, false ideology or propaganda that legalizes evil regimes. Who's in the power seat now? A completely corrupt individual, a specific religious figure, and promotes the Antichrist. The number 666, described as the number of a man, often interpreted as cryptogram, possibly referring to Nero Caesar. What camp has been saying, starting with myself, I must pat myself on the back. Nope, that was the spirit, not me. The spirit that worked through me of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I said in the first Trump 45, I said, that's Nero. Here he come back again. That's definitely Nero. And you got these writers that, that write these papers, newspapers and so forth, and certain websites that compare them to Julius Caesar and or Nero. No, he's not Julius. He's Nero. Nero is back. This guy is Nero. And reincarnated. That's something that the Christians can't, fathom. They can't get in their mind. They can't fix in their mind that reincarnation is biblical. When translated into Hebrew using gematria, that's what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me try something. I'm almost done. Just hang with me. Gematria calculator, not calendar. Okay. Let me come back over here to the chat and let me put in Nero Caesar. Let's see what pops up. Let me get my bearings straight. So let's see what happens. Okay, type in a word. Okay, it doesn't give me what I want. Let me try this. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Narrow Caesar. Yeah, they're saying it's 616. And 666. Let me see where this is going to take me. Okay, the number 666 in the book of Revelation is thought by some to be a reference to the Roman Emperor Nero Caesar. The interpretation is based on the idea that the number, when translated into Hebrew using gematria system, corresponds to the numerical value of Caesar, of Nero Caesar. Does 666 add up to Nero Caesar? I believe it's 616. One of the most enigmatic passages in the book of Revelation, the number of the beast, 666. Popular culture has embraced this number and used it for everything from the horror movies to the energy drink. But what does it mean? Who is 666? I give you a whole lot of nonsense. Where does this leave us if Revelation is speaking of the beast as someone who has already come? The beast, the best candidate appears to be Nero Caesar. The Greek name Nero Caesar put into a Hebrew letters is Neron whatever, which adds up to 666. So you can play with it. So you could say that he's the Antichrist, but there's no such thing as one Antichrist. This is the beast revelation complex symbolic representation of anti-God power, often interpreted as political empires, especially Rome. This is the new Rome. End time antichrist figures. Trump is an end time antichrist figure among many antichrists. His followers are antichrist. Corrupt institutions. This is a corrupt institution, or broader symbols of evil and oppression in human history. This man, we ain't see, when you go back to the corrupt Caesars, he came in that same spirit. The spirit of the Most High is with him because he's got to fulfill prophecy, which interpretation fits best often depends on one's theological framework. Futurist, we would be considered futurist. Preterist are also known as eschatologists. They say everything in the Bible, the prophecy, they already everything came to pass. Revelation came to pass. No. Futurists. We are futurists. Historicists or idealists, if you like, I can compare the interpretation deeper level. Anyway, I went long. Please forgive me. On to the next. Shalom.